What does this injury mean to the whole AFC race?
Well, the AFC race is a lot different, but let's not pretend that the Oakland Raiders and Derek Carr were playing exceptionally well up until this point. Obviously, you had the first 2 weeks against the Tennessee Titans and the New York Jets where they're able to run the ball. They're able to push the ball down the field with Amari Cooper and Michael Crabtree. And then you go to Washington, and this is the team that can't get a first down. Deep into the game on Sunday, they couldn't get a first down against the Denver Broncos. They can't create separation at the line at the receiver position. You're not replacing the line of scrimmage as an offensive line. And so this team wasn't playing exceptionally well before Derek Carr. Now let's think back to last year when this team was 12-4, and we were all talking about them being the biggest challenger to the New England Patriots. Then Derek Carr gets hurt. Not only did this offense suffer, but this whole team seemed deflated. They couldn't stop people on defense. They didn't rush the passer the same. Obviously, they weren't good on the back end. So now what this does is if you're the Buffalo Bills, who they have to play, if you're the Kansas City Chiefs, who they have to play, and this thing goes to the long end of the 2 to 6 week recovery time that they've given Derek Carr, the Oakland Raiders are now out of the playoff hunt. Some other teams have now moved up into it. If you're the Buffalo Bills and you're 3-1 with an opportunity to win the AFC East because the New England Patriots aren't what they used to be, those teams have an opportunity to get a jump on the Oakland Raiders and also win a game that they might not have won if Derek Carr was the quarterback. This drastically changes the AFC West and also the AFC picture in totality without Derek Carr at quarterback for the Oakland Raiders.
Well, I'm of the mindset that when I look at Derek Carr, I listen, you know, I just look at it from this perspective. Without Derek Carr, the Raiders ain't the Raiders. We saw that in the playoffs last year when they couldn't do anything with McGloin and Connor Cook. Now they've got E.J. Manuel out there, and Jack Del Rio is trying to say he did a good job. I saw some things. I'm like, what the hell did you see? I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything that overly impressed me about E.J. Manuel, and I like him as a person, and he had that look about him. But in the end, since he's been on the football field, he's been far from as productive as we had hoped or anticipated. I just look at it from the perspective that, you know, you got beast mode, you got Cooper, Crabtree sat out last week. I've got some questions about this offense, and defensively, even though they're relatively decent at the same time, they can be poor in spots. I don't have a lot of faith in them. So with Carr being out, I think they're going to be challenged to win 3 of these next 6 games, to be quite honest with you. I see them going around 2-4. They're already 2-2. That means you got about 6 losses on the season before he gets back. And I just think it's one of those situations where their playoff hopes are significantly in jeopardy. With Houston on the come up, and I believe probably will win the AFC South with the way Deshaun Watson is playing. You got Pittsburgh and New England. You got Kansas City. And then, of course, you got Denver, who cannot be ignored. What we're talking about here is with Carr being out, the Oakland Raiders being in a position to grab that last spot, that 6th seed, that second wild card spot in the AFC. I don't think they'll be in a position to battle for much else because I don't believe in whoever they're going to have behind center.
Don't forget Buffalo 3-1. John McDermott coaching those boys up. Yeah.
I said battle for the 6th spot. Battle for it. Those were my words.
I don't see this changing anything. I don't see this changing anything in the AFC, guys. Look, I thought the Raiders were going to take a step forward this year. I thought last year they weren't quite ready. Everyone was kind of trying to jump on the bandwagon maybe a year too early because they look so good and Carr is ascending and everything. Then he gets hurt. That's the end of that. But I didn't think the defense was ready yet. But behind Khalil Mack, maybe they could continue to improve through the draft, all this. And this year I thought, here come the Raiders, right? But the fact is, there was also the danger that they could regress to the mean. You know, they won a lot of miracle games last year. It's not just close games, but like, oh my God, did you see that kind of games at the end, right? When you win games like that consistently, maybe that's the ability of your quarterback to continually pull those out, but you're also probably getting a little lucky. You're probably not going to win quite as many of those the following year. So what I have seen from the Raiders is not defensive improvement. I've seen a little offensive regression, and certainly regression to the mean in terms of their luck. So I don't think they're going to win the AFC West, particularly when you look at the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, the Broncos are better than I thought, and the Chargers are, you know, they're actually not a bad winless team, but nevertheless, they are winless. But it's rough out there. That's a rough situation to be in. I don't see them winning the division. Can they win the wild card? Yeah, I think they would win. They'd be a wild card with Derek Carr. And even without him, I think they might be a wild card. Let's assume 5 games, okay? Because between 4 and 6, let's take 5. A lot of times guys that with this injury are back in a week or 2. But let's say 5 games, and they go 2 and 3. You mean to tell me a 4 and 5 team can't make the playoffs? The AFC wild card situation's wide open. I still think they can win a wild card spot. So I don't know that this has really changed anything. On the surface, when you lose your best player on offense, and that guy is also your quarterback, and his trajectory is going in such a way that you think he's going to be one of the elite quarterbacks in the league for a while, of course that doesn't help you. But ultimately, when you look at the way this division in the AFC has panned out so far and where you project it might go, I don't think it really changed anything. I still think they're in the wild card hunt, and I don't think they'd win the division.